Good morning. The summary of the film Untouchables. Untouchable is therefore a French film released in 2011 by the directors Olivier Nakache and Eric Toledano, with François Cluzet and Omar Sy in the main roles. A film inspired by a true story. So here is the summary. The film tells the relationship between two men from different backgrounds. Driss, man of Senegalese origin living in the Paris suburbs who has just served a 6-month prison sentence for jewelry store robberies, and quadriplegic Philippe, rich, who hired the first person to come as a carer. Even though he had no training particular. The film begins at night in the center of Paris. Driss at the wheel drives Philippe's Maserati at full speed, slaloming among the cars. They are therefore arrested by the police, and to justify his speeding, Driss tells the police that Philippe is disabled and patients must be taken to the emergency room. Philippe deceives the police officers by feigning discomfort, and the panicked police officers escort them to the hospital. The two men are barely jubilant. The police officers have turned their backs when Driss and Philippe resume their journey. Their meeting of the two men is then told in the form of a flashback which occupies most of the film. Quadriplegic Philippe Riche has a job interview to recruit a care assistant. Driss, who is among the candidates but has no illusions about his chances of getting the job, simply require a signature to attest to his job search with the ascetic in order to receive unemployment benefits. Casually, he brazenly flirts with Magali, Philippe's secretary, makes jokes to the latter about his musical tastes, and steals a Faberge egg from his collection. He is invited to come back the next morning to get his certificate. Driss, back in his suburbs, moves in the middle of an apartment overcrowded with children. His aunt is exasperated since he has not given any signs of life for 6 months. To coax her, he gives her the egg, but the latter, who does not know the value of the object, takes it for a Kinder egg and chases it away. The next day, Driss returns to Philippe's private mansion to look for his signature and learns to his great surprise that he is being tested. After discovering the extent of Philippe's disability, he becomes aware of his company apartment, which gives him offers comfort without comparison with that of the old HLM. Despite the embarrassment inspired by the care he must provide to Philippe, Driss acclimatizes little by little. He accompanies Philippe in all the moments of his daily life and discovers with astonishment his lifestyle, and with perplexity his habits as collectors of modern art. A parent of Philippe warns the latter about the criminal record of his employee, whom the viewer learns on this occasion that he served 6 months in prison. However, Philippe does not impressed, amused by Driss's cheekiness and permanent good humor. Over time, Driss and Philippe become closer. Driss's behavior is at first fanciful and displeases the staff of the private hotel, but the improvised caregiver gradually takes these tasks seriously. He conscientiously takes care of his boss, who suffers from regular attacks of psychosomatic pain. Philippe gradually reveals himself to Driss and tells him that he became disabled following a paragliding accident, and that he also lost his wife Alice, victim of a terrible illness. Gradually, Philippe is encouraged by Driss to put a little order in his private life by reframing in particular his adopted daughter Elisa, who behaves like a spoiled child with the staff of his side. Driss is initially surprised by Philippe's tastes in modern art and opera. He then demonstrates cultural openness and begins to improvise an abstract painting himself. Driss discovers that Philippe maintains a purely epistolary relationship with a woman named Eleanor residing in Dunkirk, who has never seen and to whom he sends poems. He encourages to meet her, but Philippe, who fears confronting his correspondent with his handicap, wants to maintain an intellectual relationship. Driss ends up forcing Philippe to call Eleanor on the phone, and a sending of photos is agreed. Driss selects a photo which, although advantageous, reveals Philippe's disability, but the latter hesitates at the last moment and asks his housekeeper Yvonne to send a photo dating from before his accident. An appointment is made and Philippe goes there with Yvonne, but Eleanor is late and Philippe fears confronting her and ends up leaving the cafe where he was to meet her. Philippe then asks Driss to come pick him up to get some fresh air, but the walk turns out to be a trip aboard his private jet. There he gives her an envelope of 11,000 euros that he managed to get from Driss's painting by passing it off as the work of an unknown painter. To both men have fun with this good move. He arrives in the mountains and goes paragliding accompanied by Driss instructors. At first afraid, ends up enjoying the thrills while Philippe enjoys the great mountain air. During Philippe's birthday, a private concert of classical music is given in his living room. At the beginning, very reluctant, Driss is encouraged by Philippe to listen more attentively to the music and to open up to this form of art. Driss recognizes in his pieces of classical music the standards: welcome advertising music, telephone call of the ascetic, or even music used in Tom and Jerry. For his part, Driss then broadcasts the music he likes and begins to dance in front of the audience, bringing other guests with him. Driss also allows himself to scold Bastien, the little friend of Elisa, whom he had brutally abandoned after having frightened the young man and ordered him to bring croissants to Elisa every morning in Adama. Driss's little brother, who is in fact his cousin, is in trouble with a gang of the sighted. He therefore comes to take refuge in Philippe's private mansion. Driss speaks to Philippe about his family and reveals his secret wounds to him. He was in reality adopted by his aunt, who could not have children at First, Philippe ends up advising to Driss, who perhaps doesn't want to push a disabled person all his life to return to take care of his family. Driss returns to his suburbs, joins his friends in the city and manages to get his little brother out of the gang he had recruited. Due to his new cultural openness, he passed without any problem a job interview in a transport company. Philippe is looking for a new carer, but none of his successive employees satisfy him. Yvonne ends up calling Driss back. The latter, as soon as he returns, takes Philippe on board the car trip which had constituted the beginning of the film. To the great surprise of Philippe, he leads the latter directly to Cobourg, where a meeting awaits him in a restaurant. Driss places in front of Philippe the Faberge egg that he had stolen. Eleanor joins then Philippe, who is surprised but delighted by the situation. A final card teaches the spectators the fate of the men who served as models for this story. Philippe remarried and had children, and his former employee also married and founded his own company. A last image shows the real protagonists of the story who remained very close. And that will be all for today. We will see you for a next film summary very soon. If this summary really made you want to watch the film, please note that you can find the film in streaming on platforms such as Dailymotion, Google Play, Rakuten, or even MYTF1. Thank you for watching.